I think it's about report card time.
Not a great grade for the 49ers.
No, C+.
C+.
Let's break down every NFL team's performance so far and grade them on a scale from F to A+. Arizona Cardinals, B. The Cardinals have struggled with consistency, which has put them at a .500 record. That said, when Arizona's offense is dialed in, it is electric, with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. lighting up defenses and showing flashes of a real playoff-ready offense. What makes Arizona really seem like it has potential is their run game, which has been a powerhouse and looks postseason ready, as it has averaged an impressive 5.2 yards per carry, putting them among the NFL's top 3 in the category. Atlanta Falcons, B+. Atlanta's offense has been explosive, and their defense has shown improvement, putting them in the driver's seat in the NFC South race, especially now that the Bucs are battling injury. The Falcons have shown up when it counts, taking 4 divisional wins to lead the pack, and while their offense has been a little bit unpredictable, they've put up enough impressive performances to have fans feeling good about the Cousins acquisition and their chances this year. Baltimore Ravens, A-. The Ravens have lived up to their billing as one of the most dangerous teams in the league. Behind Lamar Jackson's leadership, they've stormed from a shaky 0-2 start to rattle off 5 straight wins, showing that they are still a true threat in the AFC. Buffalo Bills, A. The Bills are rock-solid contenders in 2024. Yeah, they've had some hiccups stopping the run and on third downs, but hey, they lead the league in turnover margin at +11, with Josh Allen doing his best to keep the ball safe, not throwing a single pick until Week 8. Carolina Panthers, F. Oh boy, has it been a rough year for the Panthers, who remain a rudderless, quarterbackless team and all-around desolate franchise. With injuries piling up and a very lackluster offense, Carolina has been floundering, and now it's selling off its remaining parts, meaning that things are only gonna get worse. Chicago Bears, B-. Caleb Williams, after a rocky start, has improved in recent weeks, and with DeAndre Swift pounding the ground game, they've found their offensive identity. But man, the coaching is still a real concern in the Windy City. Cincinnati Bengals, C. Another slow start from the Bengals, and honestly, we aren't sure if they're going to be able to pull themselves out of this one. Their pass rush hasn't been much of a threat, ranking 29th in sacks per dropback. But if they can get both sides of the ball working together, then hey, Cincinnati could start pulling off some big wins. But that's a pretty major if at this point. Cleveland Browns, C-. Jameis Winston's debut brought an upset win over the Ravens, reminding fans what the Browns could do with a solid quarterback. But they have a long way to climb after that 1-6 start. Dallas Cowboys, C-. The Cowboys are struggling on both sides of the ball and have quickly lost ground in a surprisingly competitive NFC East, despite Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb putting up some monster numbers week to week. Unfortunately, it's just not translating to any wins. Denver Broncos, C-. Rookie QB Bo Nix is getting trial by fire, and it looks like it's starting to all come together. Sean Payton's defense is leading the way, and while it's tough to edge out the Chiefs in the division, they are in prime position for a playoff berth. Detroit Lions, A+. The Lions are living up to the hype and then some. They are not just competing, they are thriving. Jared Goff is putting up MVP caliber numbers, setting records with his pinpoint accuracy, and their defense is holding strong despite the absence of Aiden Hutchinson. Green Bay Packers, B+. Jordan Love is having an up-and-down season, as he has been in and out of the lineup with injuries. But Green Bay's young core is stepping up, including backup QB Malik Willis. And as of right now, they're still hanging around in a tight NFC North race. Houston Texans, C+. Houston has shown a lot of grit this season. CJ Stroud has been battered, taking some hard hits behind a shaky offensive line, which has to be concerning for the Texans. But hey, the return of Joe Mixon has certainly helped. But unfortunately, this team is still not meeting expectations so far. Indianapolis Colts, C. Anthony Richardson's future is up in the air, and with veteran Joe Flacco stepping in, Indy's season remains a big question mark. Still, they're finding ways to grind out wins and keep things very interesting. Jacksonville Jaguars, D. Jacksonville's pass defense has been a nightmare, giving up big plays left and right. Despite talent on the roster, they're struggling to put it all together, and owner Shad Khan has to be thinking fire sale or fire coach Doug Peterson at a minimum. Kansas City Chiefs, A+. The reigning champs are at it again, undefeated and cruising through the AFC. The defense has been clutch, stepping up in critical moments to bail out an offense that's not quite hitting last season's highs. Mahomes is throwing more picks than usual, doing his Brett Favre impression, but with a rock-solid run game and his timely ability to move the offense downfield when they need it the most, the Chiefs are as lethal as ever. Las Vegas Raiders, D. Max Crosby is the lone bright spot on a defense with the league worst turnover differential, whose will to compete seems to be decreasing with each passing week. They insist that they're not tanking, but with Davante Adams traded and QB struggles, there are a lot of questions about their long-term direction. Los Angeles Chargers, B-. The Chargers have flipped the script this season, with a defense that is now leading the way. They're allowing the fewest points in the league, but they still gotta get some new weapons for Justin Herbert to use on offense, as unfortunately, that group has just not been explosive. Los Angeles Rams, B+. Somehow, someway, the Rams are still alive in the NFC West after bouncing back nicely from a challenging start of the season that was plagued by injuries. Thus far, the offense has leaned heavily on Kyren Williams, who has been a touchdown machine, but the return of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua should make a huge difference. Miami Dolphins, C-. This is not the Dolphins team that we saw last year. Tua Tagovailoa's injuries have stymied the offense, and they have struggled to put points on the board. They have a very tough schedule ahead of them, making their playoff dreams feel like a long shot. Minnesota Vikings, A-. The Vikings are far outpacing expectations, with Sam Darnold having the best season of his career during his first with the team. Despite having many doubters, they're proven to be one of the NFC's toughest teams. The defense is performing at an elite level, and while Darnold is untested in the high-stakes playoff race, Minnesota's hoping that his hot streak just continues on. New England Patriots, D+. New England's had a rough first half, but hey, rookie QB Drake May is starting to show some promise. They've rotated through 7 different O-line configurations, and with the win over rival New York, it looks like they might have found a hint of stability. But still, this season is all about building the future, so we can't expect too much from them. New Orleans Saints, D+. The Saints had a hot start, but it's kind of been all downhill since. Their defense looked like a strength during the first 2 games, but now it's given up yardage left and right, and the team is reeling. Injuries to key players like Derek Carr have not helped. On a 6-game skid, New Orleans is hoping the return of some injured players can maybe turn things around, but it's looking like a long season ahead. New York Giants, C-. At this point, it's hard to see the Giants putting any kind of positive spin on this season, other than the fact that it's the last one with Daniel Jones. The offense has been in shambles, struggling to even reach the end zone, and their scoring numbers have dipped to a measly 14.6 points per game, which is good for near the bottom of the league. Coach Brian Daboll has been visibly frustrated, already benching Jones in one game to try and find a spark, but any sign of life has been short-lived. New York Jets, D. The Jets have a roster filled with big names, but they just can't seem to play as a team. This has been one of the most disappointing in the teams in the league to date. I mean, they've already had to fire their head coach. The reunion with Davante Adams really has not been the magic fix. And while the schedule does get easier, the Jets' playoff chances are on life support. Philadelphia Eagles, A-. The Eagles are looking every bit like contenders. With Jalen Hurts leading a balanced attack, they're putting up points and dominating on the ground with Saquon Barkley, who luckily has been everything that Philly had hoped for. The defense has had a few shaky games, especially in the pass rush, but hey, they have really tightened up recently. Pittsburgh Steelers, B+. The Steelers have leaned heavily on TJ Watt in their defense through the first few weeks of the season, and the group has delivered in a big way, as they are keeping opponents to under 15 points per game. Now, with Russell Wilson under center, Mike Tomlin has added a new dynamic to this offense. And if that can continue to develop and the offense can pick up the pace, Pittsburgh could be a sneaky contender in the AFC North. San Francisco 49ers, C+. The 49ers are a far cry from last year's juggernaut, mostly due to injuries. The defense has been solid, but they're missing key players like Javon Hargrave and Brandon Ayuk. Christian McCaffrey's expected return after the bye could reignite the offense, but they're going to need their younger players to step up if they're going to stay competitive in a tough division. Seattle Seahawks, B-. Man, Seattle has been a mixed bag from week to week this season, largely because the Seahawks defense has just been very inconsistent, thriving against weaker quarterbacks, but really struggling against top-tier competition. Geno Smith has led the NFL in passing yards, but the offensive line has been a revolving door, making it tough to sustain drives. They are dead last in designed rush rate, which is holding back an offense that's been best when leaning on Kenneth Walker III. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, B-. Tampa's offense, led by Baker Mayfield, has been impressive thus far this season, racking up points in a meaningful way. They've scored 27 touchdowns this season, ranking among the league's best, but losing top targets like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin has put them in a tough spot going forward. The defense, however, has been another story. Todd Bowles' group has done a enough to keep them competitive, but it seems like they're never really in control of the tempo of the game, and still regularly fall into serious lapses that result in big numbers for opposing offenses. Tennessee Titans, F. It is a season of growing pains for the Titans, only without any of the actual growing. I think if you ask Titans fans, post Mike Vrabel, it's only really been pain. The offense has not found a ton of success on the ground, and quarterback issues have kept the offense in neutral at best. The defense has had some decent stretches, but hasn't been able to capitalize due to a lack of takeaways. Washington Commanders, A-. The Commanders struck gold with rookie QB Jaden Daniels, who has been lighting up the field with both his arms and his legs. They're averaging over 30 points per game, a feat not seen in Washington since the early 90s. The defense, on the other hand, has been hit or miss, shutting down weaker offenses but really struggling against high-powered attacks. With a favorable schedule ahead, the Commanders could be on track for a surprising finish in the NFC East. But hey, what NFL team's grade do you think we got right? What do you think we got wrong? What would you give your favorite team? Was there any key fact that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.